Hey, good Friday morning, everybody. This is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. This is an update on Ana in particular and the weather impacts it will and will not have on the Carolinas. Now, here's a loop this morning. This is the latest visible image. You can see as the sun comes up, we've got a pretty clear view of the storm this morning. It is not a healthy looking storm. This is an extremely weak storm right now. Winds are about 40-45 miles an hour, and if you look carefully, all the thunderstorms are on the south side. The center of circulation is out here in this naked area, we kind of call it. I'll turn on the icons, and you can see the last fix of the center was right about in here. There are no thunderstorms anywhere near the center. In fact, the biggest cluster of storms is on the southern side. Now, this is still a subtropical storm, and I know a lot of people who aren't familiar with that term are kind of wondering what that is. Well, a subtropical storm is not a true tropical system. It's kind of like a hybrid. And a typical subtropical storm forms early in the season like this or late in the season. It has marginally warm temperatures at the surface to produce a tropical system, and it also has some cold air aloft. Now, a typical tropical storm or hurricane is what we call a warm core system. That means the temperature inside the storm is warm from the surface all the way up to the top of the storm, and it's just as warm as it is on the outside. This is kind of like what you would see with a winter storm or a low pressure system over the continental United States, where it's a little cooler in the middle or a little cooler aloft than it is down at the surface. The other thing that makes this a subtropical system is the wind field. These are the winds. Notice the winds are way away from the center. Typically in a hurricane or tropical storm, the strongest winds are near the center or near what would be like an eye wall feature. In this case, you see this big donut shape to it. Very typical of a subtropical system. Now, that doesn't really matter because eventually it could become tropical, and no matter whether it's tropical, subtropical, Ana, nor'easter, whatever, the impacts do not change at all. And that's really what you need to focus on. And those impacts overall are going to be pretty minimal. You can see on the northwest side today, there are very few showers. In fact, this is a live look. I was going to loop it here. I'll try to reload this. I was showing you a webcam up here in Myrtle Beach. It is sunny and beautiful, and the wave action is extremely minimal right now up and down the coast. So we'll see if this webcam will load, because you can see how nice it is. This is down at the Grand Shores Ocean Resort, and you can see there's a bunch of people on the beach. You've got nice rollers coming in. The sun is out. It's actually not a bad day right now. Look at that view. You wouldn't know there's a subtropical, tropical, whatever it is offshore, and that's the biggest dilemma I have. A lot of people going to the coast this weekend, you know, want me to make a decision for them. And in this case, it's hard for me to say because I don't see this being a total washout of a weekend. Yes, there's going to be scattered showers. There will be rip currents. It's not going to be a great weekend. But if you're going for the whole week and you're going to leave today or tomorrow and spend next week, go. It's just a couple rainy days and then it's done. But if you're worried about any rain at all, which you always have to be worried about rain at the beach, then maybe I would rethink it. So let's look at some of the model data. You can see the forecast track doesn't take it inland until late Sunday into Monday. So this thing's going to be around a while, and it's going to weaken quite a bit as it moves towards the coast. So we'll look at the model data. We showed you the wind field there. Let me look at the NAM4 model, and I'll show you the radar, because I think this is really interesting. The storm has a small window here in the next 24 hours as it sits over the Gulf Stream to get really strong. Briefly, if these thunderstorms wrap around the center, it could go up to 50 or maybe even 55 mile-an-hour winds. The problem is, as it gets closer to the coast, it's going to get into coastal waters, which are much cooler, so it could actually weaken right before landfall, maybe to almost nothing, or at least a tropical depression. You can see as it moves to the north, it begins to lose some of that punch as it heads closer to the coast. Here's the NAM model, and you can see it kind of fall apart the closer it gets to shore. The one thing to notice, this is on Sunday, by the way, afternoon, is that there's not a lot of rain, if any, back towards the west. There will not be any washout whatsoever in the Charlotte area in the western Carolinas. Yeah, there's going to be scattered showers, but this weekend actually does not look bad. It looks like a typical summertime or springtime weekend. You see the system then move up through eastern North Carolina. Still, it's probably a little whirl or swirl, and then it moves off pretty quickly. But let me show you the winds, because I think the winds are telling. You can see the window there. These are the wind speeds, and again, your tidal legend bar is over here. Briefly, the NAM wants to perk it up to maybe 50, 60 mile-an-hour winds, but then watch as the center gets over those cooler waters, how the winds just kind of fall apart a little bit. The strongest winds with this whole system are going to stay well offshore. Now, rain is going to be a big issue. I do think we'll see some flooding around anywhere on the north and east side of the circulation as this heavy band comes inland, and that will likely happen on Sunday into Monday. We've already got flash flood watches up, a tropical storm watch up for the coast right now. But all in all, I'm always like to be proactive with storms. This is not a big deal, to be honest with you. It's a subtropical storm. It's very weak. The only issue, it's going to be lingering out there for a couple days, so there could be a lot of wave action, and maybe beach erosion could end up being the biggest issue if we get the waves to continue to build over a 2 or 3 day period. But all in all, this is not that big of a deal. And if I were going to the beach just for the weekend, I might still go, but I might just hold off till early next week. Hope you have a great day. My phone is ringing. I'll go get it, and I'll see you today starting at 4, 5, and 6 on NBC Charlotte.